All right, so a few of you were having questions about had a problem with migration, and we added the wrong data to our tables. So if we did that, and we already migrated this, this one was add fields to users, where we were adding some first name, last name, and whether they were an admin to our users table. Say we want to go the admin wrong or something like that, and we don't want to have that in their database. So there's a method there's a rake task that lets us go back a level, and it's called db::rollback. So if we run a rake task and we say db:, there's a lot of this, like the db seed. Remember, there's a db rollback. You can specify the steps with step equals n. All right, so we'll say db rollback, and let's not give it a step. And so what that is going to do is take the last migration. Remember, these are all in time order. So in this case, it's going to take this rolled back a level, and the data from those columns will be removed from that table. If this was the whole table creation, the whole table would be dropped. All right, but in this case, it's just going to remove those columns and do the SQL necessary to remove the columns. So we'll say OK, and it goes and runs basically this command again, but instead of an add column, it actually calls a method called remove column. So it removes those columns. Any data that I had in there is now gone. It dropped those columns. All right? Save your data. You'd have to do a lot more work to do that. So now change, you can come back here. It leaves you the migration so that I can redo this if I want. Maybe I misspelled admin, so I come and fix that and fix it to admin. That's who I did it for. Mark on a column, and we don't want question marks on column names because that's Rails, because Rails uses a question mark to determine a Boolean object column already. So we want question marks in our names. So once we're happy with it, we can go again. How do I migrate this again? Forward, and it will add my columns again. Information is still gone. I would have to add in the fact that one of my persons is an administrator. So, and I typically do that right in the console. So let's run our console. Get all of my I've got 2. So say hey, save, and now I can log in with my user again. So you'd have to reset that. Now, if I look at my my Dave, my first name and last name are all gone. So I probably won't use that. So last name, a.save, and then I did where I was before. So rollback, I can also. So if I do a rollback, oops, I didn't. Let's do. I don't want to run that again because that's already set to one step. So I can say step equals 2, and it goes back this one, my extra fields, and my whole. I can go back all the way I want, fix something, revert all the way forward again. And then very likely I would have to add my data back in, And how do I add my data back in? My seeds. So seeds file, you can actually do that as well. Of what I just did in my, where's my seeds file? Here it is. I could do the same code to set the user, right? I could say Dave equals user dot first or user dot find by email. That's my admin guy. I could say Dave.admin equals true and say Dave.save. Okay, so that would do the same thing that I just did in the console, but it would every time I ran my seeds file. Which, yeah. So that there's no interface for that. You don't want somebody to hack into your website and do that through a web page. It's usually not a good idea. Right? Sure. So in the migration, which I just closed, of course, we can set defaults in here to be something like that. Okay, so by default, my users are not admins. So when a new user is created, that will be false all the time. Does that make sense? Good question. Any other questions on that? Rolling back, rolling forward? Rollback or a DB. Migration files. Did it work? Yeah. And then rerun your seeds. So that happens a lot when you're playing around with this stuff. So I've had to drop everything and start over again a few times. Not a bad thing to do. So the other way to quickly get rid of it, I could just delete this file completely. Delete this development file. My development.sqli3, that's a hardcore delete everything. But yeah, restore from a backup. Go to your version repository where all this stuff is stored, right? Yeah, so exactly. All right, good questions. Any other questions on that? Okay. Oh, okay, in my config. So maybe it's just that a range. All right. So maybe that'll work. And that only works on registration, sign up when they create their password the first time. So all right. Let's move on to comments then on our blogs. So Rails has a nice way of associating another table, two tables together. So in a blog situation, we might have a blog that has many different comments associated with it, right? So it's a one-to-many relationship between those two tables. So this is just straight SQL. If you think about it, where does what does the comments table have in it to relate back to the blog that it's related to? Not a user. Not a user ID. The blog ID, the foreign key in the comments table has to associate to primary. Well, not the primary key. No. So let's see if I can draw this for you. Let's use. What is OneNote? Let's see if I can draw it. That's my last one. That was for graphics in mobile labs. So let's do out. Here we go. New. So we're going to draw, and we'll have a so here's a table that has rows in it. Look at that. It's so beautiful. Woohoo! This is our blogs table, and this is I. This is title, and this is something like that, right? So then we have another table to associate this with. Ooh, that's a nice table. I need a tablet out here. Isn't that great? Yeah, I kind of like that. This has information in it. And in here, so this is my comments table. And it's associated with my blogs table through a foreign key, right? So have each table has a unique ID for the comment itself. So this is the comment ID. Then we might have the author and the content and some other fields. And then we need our foreign key, which is going to be what? The blog ID, right? So this, we will have a blog ID. It could be a different table, right? I have a whole user table over here. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm not going to force people to log in. It depends on the style of your site, right? But a comment could have two foreign keys in it, right? A foreign key that goes to the blog ID and a foreign key that goes to the user ID as the author. So and has the number of the blog over here. So if I have, this is blog ID number 1, and it says this is cool, whatever. And table. So this guy would have, let's make these all look nice. Isn't that great? Look at that. Beautiful. So this might have its own blog ID of 4. It's going to have an author of Dave. Its content is cool. And its blog ID then is going to be what? 1, right? So that is the foreign associated back to this. So in a SQL, how would I get all the comments? On all the comments from comments. That equals what? 1. All right. So that gives you all the comments to display on my blog table, on my blog page, because in the blog detail page, the show page for a particular blog, list all the comments associated with the blog. So that this blog over here has many manipulation. So it uses that as a keyword, has see that in our model to create this, so that we don't have to do all of these select statements like this. Right? Isn't that cool? So let's do that. So create some comments for this block. All right. So we're going to scaffold. We're going to use our scaffolding. So we need to generate. Run our scaffolding, and we're going to call our model name comment. Right. We're going to have a comment that has an author. Has a string. I'm not going to make the key right now, but it's a good idea. Our content of our comment, it's got to be text. I want them to be able to rate this, so I'm going to have a rating as an integer. And then we need to have a foreign key in here. So in our column, to have reference blog, and we actually use the word. Okay, so we want the blog as a reference blog. Okay, so we say, okay, generate some code for me. No dragging and dropping here. And it creates all of these nice little files for us with all of the adds, deletes, just like we have. We're not going to use a lot of these, but the main one is this migration I want to show you. And it has created a blog associated column, and it already indexes it because it knows that's going to be used a lot, right? It's going to be it's going to require an index on that. We're going to be doing where blog equals.
Set a default rating or set like a range that you're allowing.
We'll do that as a validation. We'll do that internally. You could do that on the table itself, but do that internally. Okay. Probably, yeah. I never said I was foolish. So. So here's a perfect example of doing a rollback, right? We don't want to do this, and I'm going to do that from, I haven't migrated it, but I created all these files. So I'm going to get rid of all those files. So this is 284 fall. So I'm going to run the command from a DOS prompt. And builds, destroy, scaffold, comment. Those files are all gone. And we'll do it again. Generate. This is to give you practice. A movie of, it's still going to be comments. It's going to be have a author as a string. Point table author as a string. What else do I have? I want my title first. And we're going to associate this back to a movie. using movie colon references. Similar. Right, so I created all of our pieces again. So break TV migrate. Well, my book publisher is in the final stages of editing my book, so hopefully they say it's supposed to be out the end of the month. That'd be great. By the way, just yeah, on RubyMine, on how to use RubyMine. Complimentary copies, sure. Oh, they try for the stupid copy. It's just wrong. I can get them at a discount probably, but all right. Anyway, I had to plug my there somewhere. No, I did most of that over the summer. So, all right. Yeah. So in here. Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention this stuff here. So in my comment, I use this keyword called belongs to a movie because a comment belongs to a specific movie. That's the foreign key in my comments table associated back to the movie table. So to say that my movie has many, what do you think? Comments. And I use the my movie to singular, so it reads nicely. So two things are all I need to set the foreign key between my comment table and my model table. Does that make sense? Please. So there's my has many comments. Those are the only two things I need. Whole content I change. Any comments? Well, it tries, it collects them all, but I don't get anything back. There are no comments, right? I get an empty array, all right? But all I have to do is a movie and use the comment now. That's a new method on my movie class, my movie object, that I can check to see if it has any comments. Isn't that great? And if I had some comments, I could check which comment that belonged to. I could say that particular comment movie, and it would tell me the movie to which it's related to. So it keeps that connection for me. In Rails automatically. I don't have to do any of these SQL commands. So you can see what it tried to do here was it said select comments, star from comments where comments.movie ID equals whatever the movie ID is that I'm interested in. In this case, it's 85. So so I have 71 movies. That's right. I have a bunch of them. I was wondering why that's so. need to add some of this code into our views and start displaying them. All right? So so if I had a specific, where would I display it? All of the comments associated with a particular movie. No page. All right. This is where we display the details of a movie. And then typically we display all the comments. So down here, I can start to think about how to display for my particular movie that I'm looking at. I can get all the comments, and I can say array, right? Comments is an array of all the comments associated with a movie. That does the select statement for me. I can each through them, and I get a single what? Comment. Singular. Inside of this, I can play the fields. Out of here, I can start just like I did up here. This is doing just a single display of all the properties of my movie. I can start to display and maybe put that in some tag. Isn't that cool? I can put the author also in an H3 tag. Comment.author. I can put in a paragraph maybe the actual content. And what else might I have? The rating, right? So let's put it in another one for now. All right, so I have all of this information that I'm going to display for each and every comment. I'm going to put a deprecated HR tag in here too. I love HR tags. All right, because how many lines it takes to put an HR tag in standard HTML5 now? A whole bunch of lines. You have to have a tag to put it on, like a div or a span. You got to. And this is, I don't know why they. Bring it back. I'm gonna be my second. Bringing back the HR tag. Jeez. All right, so let's go look and see if it should display. So let's go look at my movie. I have to log in because I dropped the table and it lost me. All right, so let's go look at this particular movie. And there we go. We have no comments, right? So let's go. Where did I create all of my movies? In my seeds. So let's create a bunch of comments because I don't want to be adding comments manually. Let's use our seeds to do that for us. All right? So as I create a movie, I can also create comments to associate with the movie that I just created. So inside this loop, something like 10.times do. Let's see, I wrote this in here. my same name, Baker Jim.
I was going to say just use that.
The same name,
Yeah.
but I don't want to, in this case, because I want the authors of all my comments to be different. But yeah, I could save this as down here. So I got my author, my comment to be something like let's put these. I like this format like this. I need my it's going to be more paragraphs. Let's do sentences because we want a bunch of sentences. Three sentences. And make sure they're H. Right? And then what do I have? I knew that. I knew that. Well, if we don't remember, we go look at our schema. And the movie ID is going to be set automatically because I'm doing a movie.comments.create. So set the comment, the movie ID from this movie object that I already created. And instead of this, I could do something like a rand of 1 to 10 comments, right? Isn't that cool? So I'm going to do up to between 1 and 10 comments, create this. Now, I might not want any, so let's make it to 10 commented because I need to test that it doesn't display anything correct. Let's and I'm destroying all the old ones, so that's fine. So let's do my DB seeds figures. Seeds. And should create a bunch of movies that have a bunch of comments as well. No, got a problem. Cannot call create unless the parent is saved. All right? So how do we make the movie else on that? I just do a movie.save. All right. And this is going to be indented correctly. Big sigh. No. Format is too long. Validation failed. Format is too long. So it has to do with my validations. The problem was that let's just do a save. Remember that sometimes my random data created nulls and didn't actually save, so that's the problem. It got to some and it failed. If movie dot nil piece of code here. It doesn't like seeing my languages. If and I'm doing Java now too. That's Java. All right, or C or whatever. All right, so there we go. So let's talk again. Guaranteed to work. Beautiful. So I got a few, and it says it wasn't saved. So I've got some problems. It did create some of them. So ideally, I would make this so that my movie IDs actually save correctly, so that they validate, right? So I'll have to fix that. Right, I'll fix these so it creates a bunch of comments. So, any questions? Yes, millions. All right. Well, let's stop.